Hey guys, Sean Bougie, surplusfundsriches.net. I'm going to say a couple things here. Oh, I'm actually a little bit early, waiting for folks to start coming in. But good. We've got some people coming in. Welcome, guys. I'm going to ask somebody to let me know you can hear and see me okay, and then I'll shut down chat after that for just a minute to cover anything we have to for this week. And then we'll start right into the live question and answer webinars. Please, whatever you do, guys, do not use the Q&A section. Use the chat. Don't use Q&A. Chat should be set. Chat is going to be set for private. And that's because when we go public, it gets wonky. We have had people go, hey, Sean, say hamster, Europe, Jones, to prove to me that it's live. I will mention your first name when I'm answering your question, guys. Hey, Sean, great to be with you this morning from London, UK. Saad, that's fantastic. Yvette says yes. We see you loud and clear. Fantastic. Hasha, can see her and hear. Craig, you sound good. And Randall says good evening. Hear and see you. Great. Loud and clear, says Dave. All right, guys. I'm going to shut this down for just a second. It won't be long at all. Just a second. Okay. And by the way, you should be seeing a download. I think it looks like a paperclip on your end. But it's a file download. And if you're new here, that's going to have pricing for the next sale, and it's also going to have the overview of our programs. Next sale is October 28th and 21st. You guys that have been with us for a while know that it's not that we're reducing pricing. It's the only time we allow those to be available. You can't come on board except for those 2 days out of the month. And that's because we offer with many of our programs a partnership option. So we want to limit the number of people that are coming on board. We want to monitor and mediate that. So that's why we're so careful. Quick shout out. Leslie, congratulations. Checks already hit the mail. A lot of you guys that follow us on Facebook and YouTube. Our name is the same everywhere. Surplus Funds Riches, all one word. YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. Those of you guys that follow us and all that, you already saw that announcement or the video. You should have. YouTube's the best channel because we give you guys a lot of updated stuff. Also, heard back from my app developer. We're going to be having the app soon. That's going to be special content only available for the app. And that's going to come out shortly, probably in about 3 weeks, which these days is shortly. I don't think anybody's completely full on hiring except for like me. And that's just because I'm about 40% above the market on what I pay. So let's go back to settings, enable the chat. And here we go. Guys, again, it's private. You won't see other people's, but I will mention your first name when you comment. If you guys are watching this as a replay on YouTube, which is where it normally ends up after some time, just understand that it's not live on YouTube. Well, it's live while we're broadcasting, but it's not live on YouTube when you're seeing it as a replay later. This is 8 p.m. Eastern time, September the 21st. All right, so any and all questions, guys, are good. We also, for those of you guys that purchased our National Surplus Funds Program, say over a month ago, we did some slight changes, mostly grammatical fixes and a few things to the National Surplus Funds Program. That is available on your resources page, linked from your existing book, and it is password protected on there. And you can download that and plug in the password you have for your current book on the resources to use that. Saad said, I woke up in the middle of the night last night thinking it was a day webinar, only to find out it was today. Sorry about that, Saad. Man, you're in the UK. I don't know what time it is over there, but that's quite a difference. Jeff says, good evening, Sean. Jeff from Oklahoma. That's great. Saad, just remember, we do get a lot of people from outside of the country that want to come on board. If you want to partner with us, you're probably going to need to get the National Surplus Funds Program. We do have guys that use the Premier 16, which is where you also have to call them. In addition to researching debt, you have to call them to make sure they're the right person and they're willing to speak with us. Oh, 1 a.m. So that's rough. They're willing to speak with us, and then you give it to us, but you get 16% instead of 8%. But it's harder from, hi, Cheryl from Kentucky. It's harder from outside of the country because it's difficult to get skip tracing programs. I have a couple of guys in Canada that have offices in the United States that were able to use their office address, their office, their LLC in the United States with the checking account. You have to have a business, even if it's a DBA, with a checking account to get most of the good subscription systems, the skip tracing systems. And we had them, I see you, Dan. I'm going to get there in just a second. We had them We've had a lot of people do that, and we've had a lot of success with that guy, but that's because he was able to have a U.S. address and a U.S. banking account under a business. Otherwise, it's very difficult to get skip tracing outside the country. Very important to know that. Dan, hi, Sean, you're a researcher. Currently have 7 files accepted. That's great. What's the average time between when a file gets accepted to when a person chooses to sign the forms and work with you for the surplus? So, Dan, I'm going to break this down for everybody on here. Couple things. So it takes a month from when you turn in. By the way, we're calling it that day and we're mailing it that day. It's that fast. Speed counts in this business. So we're immediately on it. I have a full-time crew mailing, calling, data entry, right? Skip tracing, all of that. So it takes about a month from when we first get it, though, on average, to get a return call from our mailings, or it takes 4 to 5 calls, 4 to 5 mailings, or 3 to 4 mailings, sorry, to actually get their attention. And by the way, we mail not only to the individual, but all their possible relatives and associates. It's kind of a big deal. So it takes about a month to get in touch with them, make the deal, and get a mobile notary in front of them and get them to sign that. And then the mobile notary uses our FedEx label to send it back. Month. At that point, we're giving it to an attorney, and one of two things is going to happen. The attorney's either going to give it to the court and make sure they review it, or they're going to, in those states that require an attorney to motion for the funds, which there are quite a few, he will actually have to set up and get on the docket in front of the magistrate. That typically takes a month. So now we're at 2 months. At that point, it's granted, and it's going to take about another month even though it's granted, the court's not in a hurry to release the funds. It's not anything Machiavellian, guys. There's no great conspiracy at the county level. Once it gets to the state, it gets a little hinky. But while it's at the county, it's pretty easy to get it, and it usually takes them a month to cut the check and send it to us. So about 3 months. Tiffany, which skip tracing companies do you refer, and do you only do that for members or partners? I'll just tell you who we use, Tiffany. We like IDI Data a lot. They're really good and really accurate. We also like Microbilt, MICROBULT. Call that. You can go to microbilt.com. Call that. There's a phone number on their website. Google is your friend, guys, right? Call that and ask for Gary Mosteller. Tell him you're working with Sean Booz, your Greater Good Company, or you're referred by me, and he will waive the $200 startup costs. Now, as far as the cost per skip trace on that, I'm on a volume system. So I pay like a ton of money just to be able to do thousands of searches. So I don't know what your cost would be on Microbilt. IDI runs $3 to $6 depending on what search you do per shot. Microbilt, I think you can get as low as $1.50 depending on what search you're using. We also like, believe it or not, White Pages Premium, which has been getting stupid accurate recently, especially if you do a reverse search by the address. 2 reasons. One, they're actually very accurate. Secondly, if they had a renter in there, the renter may still be in there, and that number you're going to get is for the renter, and they will give you the owner's number, because sometimes the renters are still in. They don't immediately kick these guys out. Dave, what happens if a person bought the property at the tax sale? Don't understand your question, Dave. Who bought the property? What are you talking about? If somebody bought it at the tax sale and they paid more money than what was owed to the taxing authority, the county, then that created an overage. April, hi, I'm just getting started. Was curious about the paperwork process in counties that don't allow power of attorney. So, April, all counties allow us to do it. We do power of attorney, not to us. That's 1980s crap. Okay, we do power of attorney to ourselves, not to us. I'm sorry, to our attorney. Okay, and our attorney contacts the court. Any paperwork that's needed, they get filled out. If there's a motion that's needed, they do it. We always use attorneys with our program. We think you're silly not to use an attorney, and that's why. What you just commented, that's why. Dan doesn't want it. Dave doesn't want it. Don't understand the question, Dave? Please, guys, I'm going to need you to use, and I'm not making fun, Dave, I promise you, but I can't always go to your comment and realize what you're commenting on from a previous comment. You've got to ask me a full question. Randall says, Sean, you said Gary Mosteller. I believe you meant it's Gary Mosteller. I put T's in the first ebook we sent out years ago. Mosteller, it's Stellar. Mosteller. Thank you for the info, says Tiffany. Hey, no problem. This is wide open to anybody, regardless if you have the program or not, because a lot of what we do is we need to dispel myths. Okay, we need to get things straight with people so they understand how this stuff really works. and what the best ways are to work, regardless of whether or not you sign with me. I mean, most people end up doing it. We get 3% of the people that buy our program started with somebody else's program. And then they realize, you know what? We need a better mousetrap. We need to use Sean's. Or they realize, I'd like to partner up with Sean, which partnership is built into our programs. April, thank you. I found a previous property owner who is incarcerated. Awesome. April, I'm going to say this, and it's a joke. It's great if they're incarcerated because there's a mobile notary usually right in the jail, and it's a captive audience. Okay. Typo, incarcerated. Yeah, I caught that, April. Dave, correct. Overage created and redemption period ending, previous owner still eligible to claim surplus. Yeah, it depends on the state though, Dave. Like California doesn't technically have a real redemption period, but they wait a year from the sale to grant any claim. That's the downside to tax sale foreclosures in California. However, it depends on the state. Some states make you wait till the redemption period's over, which is absolutely stupid. Typically with an attorney, we don't run into that though. So even though there's a redemption period still running, we can still claim the overage before that's up, because by claiming the overage, they are giving up their right to redeem the property. Thanks for answering. Is there a method you suggest for determining a person is deceased or not? Do you use skip tracing for that or another program? Our skip tracing, Dan, all the good skip tracing stuff is going to tell you guys whether or not they're deceased. IDI, Microbill, they're going to tell you. I've kicked myself for working one or two files only to find out they were deceased. Yeah, I mean, you can also use, one of the things we tell people is if you're working with us as a partner and you want to check that first, two ways to look at this, right? So if you want to check that first, sorry, I've got to kind of scroll up because you guys are coming in hot right now. So two ways to look at it. You can go, forget it. I don't want to do the 15 minutes of research to research the debt. So I want to find out first. And you can use Google and just plug in the name followed by OBIT and the city and state and see if anything pops up, or you can get skip tracing. A lot of the guys have figured out, you know what, it's taking me 15 minutes, right? It's going to take me a minute or two for skip tracing and a couple of bucks. Screw it, I'm going to take the chance. Now, most people that ask me that question have turned in a file or two and got a kickback because they were deceased, and we won't work with them except in certain instances and with certain programs, okay? But what they don't realize is if you keep working, that percentage of people that are deceased is going to go down. All right, Hasha, for painting. There is a case where the property was given to the executrix of an estate, complete with a deed to the property. So I'm assuming, Hasha, that's prior. Don't answer me yet. I've got it, but that's prior to the foreclosure. It has a mortgage assumption agreement, 6 pages, and a mortgage modification document, 10 pages. All right. They both were recorded on the same day. Strangely, the modification was recorded first. Don't get caught up in that but I'll keep going here. The modification was recording first, then the assumption. Which one of these should be attached with the worksheet, or do you want both of them? And the whole thing, or just the first 3 pages, like any other mortgage? Just the first couple of pages, Hasha. Listen, if that modification mentions the bank that was the one that was assuming that debt, then it doesn't matter that it was recorded first, because they're going to interlink and realize same day we're good. I understand that everything depends on order of, as far as priority, but in a situation like that, if that modification, okay, was for the bank that was assuming it, you're good. And I would say you're good. I would definitely turn that both in, put that on your sheet, turn it in so we can see it. Dave says Indiana. Okay. April, exactly. I need help with the process. Would I need to apply to partner with you? Yeah, April, I don't partner with folks that don't take my training. Plus, the way that we partner, we're going to incur costs for the individual. National Surplus Funds, which pays you 8% of the gross when we get out of the court, and all you got to do is go get your own list and research debt, fill out our worksheet with that, and turn it in. That's National Surplus. That's $597. If you want to also call them and make 16% of gross instead of 8%, I think that's on sale this next month, October the 20th and 21st. Those are the only 2 days we're putting any of our programs available. I think it's on sale for $447 instead of $497. But that's your options. And yeah, I'm not partnering with people that don't work with us. That wouldn't be right for the people that paid. And I want to know you took my training and you know what you're doing. Okay. And you know how to submit it to me. You're not going to just go, look at this, and a lot of people, what they'll do, they'll try to actually send something to me. And I go, so you researched debt, right? Yeah, sure. You didn't research jack. You got to check debt. If there was debt against the property or the person at the time of the sale, that debt has a priority claim to the surplus. So maybe one of the reasons you're running into some bad luck, a lot of people run into that when they buy a program and they don't realize they got to do that. Saad, Sean, I hope you don't mind me asking this. Partnering with you on a successful six-figure claim using the Surplus 50/50 program, what could a researcher potentially earn as a commission in dollar terms? Okay, let's say it's $100,000. At $100,000, we got to pay him a higher commitment. We're going to pay him 70%. Now at 50, we're going to pay him 60%. Under 50, we're going to pay him 50% because our attorneys are going to eat a certain amount of this, right? So let's say $100,000 and we got to pay him 70%. That leaves 30. Okay. Now out of that, we're going to pay attorneys, which are usually going to run. The average is 3. I've seen as high as 6. I've seen as low as $500. But let's say that's $3,000. So we're down to 27, right? 27%. We take an admin fee out that totals $2,500. What that covers is the data entry, the calls, the mailing, the time that was put into the mailing, the postage that was put in mailing, the cost of the mailing piece itself. That also covers the mobile notary. That also covers follow-up title work through a real title company by the attorney. Covers all of that. So that's a $2,500 hit. So what are we at? We're at 27 minus 2,500. We're at 24.5. You would be looking at, well, with the panning, wait a minute. You're on the 50/50, so you also have to contact them. On the 50/50, you would be at 50% of that 24.5. Big deal. Probably more than you can make yourself, especially if it's a state where they're limiting or capping what you can make. Sean, okay. And Andrew, I purchased Florida Surplus. The foreclosure surplus example for foreclosures under days is not available in the resource section. What am I missing? Andrew, read your book again. The book, in that book, that is a coloring book. We run into this a lot. Andrew, I'm not making fun of you. We run into this a lot. People skim and they go, I read the whole book, but I've even gotten this, but I didn't even see the link for the resources page. Page 1. You didn't read the whole book. I didn't see anything about support, how to use support. Page 1. Didn't read the book. Then we get a quote like, hey, there is an example of exactly how to do that. And again, not making fun of you, Andrew, but it's right in the ebook. And then we've got more information on the resources page and the frequently asked questions for support, but it's in there. And then you said the surplus funds chain of title sheet for under 6 days is not available. I can download the traditional chain of title form for mortgages, no problem. Please help. Everything's either in the ebook or on the page. It is available, Andrew. Take another look. I'm not making fun, man. I'm not taking a pot shot at you. I know what we got. Listen, so all of our sign-in sheets, like when you go to put your password in and all that, that's by a company that actually works with hospitals, which, as you can imagine, it has to be bulletproof. It has to work every time. So when people go, hey, my password isn't working, yes, it is. Okay. We know it is because these guys are bulletproof. Same thing with the pages. So that's how we know. And not taking a shot, Andrew, just take another look in your ebook for the first thing you asked on. And then for the chain of title worksheet, it's in there. Saad, Sean, when using your script to call claimants, all right, can we say we are calling from the Greater Good Company for the time being until I set up my second LLC for tax? Absolutely not. You are not a member of my company. Not giving you crap, Saad, but I have no control over that. It specifically says you are not to use our name in that. When you hand it off with the Premier 16 program or the 50/50, that's when you can tell them who they're going to be getting a call from, but you're not calling on behalf of us. No, sir. Can't do it. Tiffany, what if the file is, and by the way, Saad, use your names. Hey, this is Saad. Use your name, Colin, regarding and use the script. You'll be fine. Tiffany, what if the file is less than 20K? You say on the handout, we will take files 20K or more in all states. No, that's not what it says on the handout. Do the file get dropped or we eat that? What do you mean you eat it, Tiffany? You didn't. Okay. It is different state to state. National is, I believe, 25,000 is the minimum. Excuse me, maybe 20, but I think it's 25. Jeff can correct me if I'm wrong with that. The other one is that was national. Then you've got the panning, where it's got to be 35 grand, because there's, even with our tightness on estimating the surplus on that, we've got to leave more room. And then Florida is actually a little less than 17.5, just because it's crazy easy to go through the Florida system with the Florida surplus program. That's a separate program. Daniel, how does your new program work? Wholesales flip. So if you're talking about the redemption wholesaler, by the way, let me make this announcement tonight. We will be making that available one more time, not at the launch price, but we will be making that available Black Friday, and you can pick it up then. But as far as how does it work, I've got videos on that, Daniel. If you shoot me an email, I can send you a video, and you can also call me, guys, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Monday through Friday Eastern Time. This is also on the website. 704-791-9398, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Friday, except for holidays. Saad says, thank you for the amazing answer. You got it. Andrew, there is no longer a 60-day rule for Florida surplus. That's been out for a long time, says Jeff. I understand that, Jeff. Yeah, okay. Jeff corrected me. Well, first of all, Jeff, let me take a look at this. Moderator. Jeff said there's no longer a 60-day rule for Florida surplus. That should answer your question earlier on that, Andrew. Sorry about that. I know it's tough on you. Saad says, okay, understood. Thank you. Yeah, I hope I didn't come across like I was beating you up, brother. National surplus funds minimum. Remember when I said it's different for programs? The minimum for national surplus is $20,000. Florida is $17,500. Panning is $35,000. Fantastic news. Great news on that, says not my Jeff, another Jeff. Okay. Panning has been unbelievable. That's where you have to create your own list by using our methods to come up with an actually accurate way in those states where you can't get a mortgage overage list. And that is now representing over 50% of our business. So those of you guys that bought that on January 1st, you were smart. Now we still have it available. It's in the Diamond Bundle, and we offer that every time we have a sale. Somebody used Q&A. Shame on you. Lewis, this is the last one I'm going to answer, guys, out of Q&A. You got to use chat, please. Q&A messes up usually. I'm curious about the paperwork with the lawyer that he files. I would like to know if lawyer paperwork, what it says. Do you need a different lawyer for each state? So the way I do it, Lewis, is I have a central attorney. That central attorney has a paralegal that's dedicated just to me. Okay? And not all states require you to have a local attorney, but she will call and find the other attorneys and hire them. We get a power of attorney to our central attorney. Included in that power of attorney is the right for them to not only file any paperwork or whatever's necessary, but to also hire other attorneys as needed. So that's what's in there. If you're really curious, Lewis, buy the program. You'll get it. You'll get a copy of the power of attorney, and also a structured buyout agreement will be in there. Please use chat, guys. All right, here's another chat. Sean, using your script, this is Assad. It's a good question. Will the claimant still speak to me if I use my own name rather than a company name? How do I get around that? Well, Assad, so I don't know. I believe you said you're in the UK. Okay. We were recently last year we were in Paris, and I know that bureaucracy there, I was having conversations with people, is a little higher or harder than it is in the States. And it's probably the same thing for UK. If you're worried about it, I wouldn't be worried about it. Just call them. They're really not going to care. But if you're worried about it, go get it for now, a DBA. If you're having to wait on an LLC or something else, get a doing business as, which you can get in European courts, okay? Or a sole proprietorship, anything just to have a company name if that's what you're looking for. Craig said Sean, hyphen, and then nothing else. I think you hit enter too soon or submit. Does that help you, Saad? I hope so. I mean, if you're concerned about that, I would do that. I do have an existing LLC already set up in Wyoming. Saad, I'd use it. And unless it says something like, Euro cars, or, something that's silly, Acme Pest Control, then you're not going to have a good success using that name for this business. A lot of people use the words asset recovery. Okay, that's batted around quite a bit. Surplus funds recovery and all that. I used to, thank you, Saad. I used to have people that would get on and they were afraid. And actually, in the first book that we ever put together, we said don't use surplus funds in your name because you're kind of tipping them off. But you know what? We tell them where it is anyway. We tell them what the money is. Because we're using attorney, we give them 10% of the gross amount being held by the court up front as good faith. That's pretty daggone powerful. So we can tell them where it is, tell them we're using attorneys. We don't have any issue with that. They believe us a lot more when we do that. So it's just a different animal. Craig, I am using the NC Flip program. Awesome. Trying to get a list of potential foreclosures from an NC county, but I only had 5 property shows up. Do I have the wrong website? Hey, Craig. No, counties don't have upcoming sales all the time, not all the counties. If you look at, for instance, Mecklenburg, there's probably 150 listed there. Look around. There's 97 counties in North Carolina. So if you're not finding enough to work in one little county, go to another one. There was one I looked at recently. It was Cabarrus County, North Carolina. Very few in there. In previous months, I've seen 20, 30, 40 at a time. Again, 97 counties, I believe, in North Carolina. Move along. Depending on the county, some of them have them every single month. Some of them have them once a quarter. But you're going to find stuff. Just get out of that county and go somewhere else. And I think you'd agree, Craig, that took you no time to do that, to look at that and see how many properties were in there. I'm sorry, I got to check because Jeff lets me know when he's cut off questions if it's getting hot and heavy. I want to make sure he didn't say that yet. Okay, we're still good. Yeah. Saad, my company name is called 50 States Housing LLC. Oh, Saad. That's a great name. That is a great name. You've got a real estate reference in there. Freaking use that. That's awesome. Craig says, thank you, Andrew. So you can work on files, i.e. mortgage foreclosure in Florida if the sale happened within 60 days. We just fill it out like we would if a mortgage foreclosure occurred 120 days ago. Yeah, I think so. Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong. Hey, guys, by the way, I love that we get this kind of community. I love that we're getting this kind of interaction. But I've had people before, oh, my God, I was waiting for this webinar. You've got support built into your system, right? Jeff has 3 business days to get back. It's email-based. It's online on our website. He has 3 business days to get back. It's for members only, okay? But he has 3 business days to get back. He technically gets back within 1. And sure enough, Jeff goes, Andrew, open a support ticket. Sure. He's afraid you're going to keep going on his stuff. Just open. He's really good at that, guys. He's really good at getting back. And I got to be honest with you. One of the reasons, because people will reach out to me on social media and ask me a support question, or they'll text me and ask me a support question. The reason I go use support as outlined in your ebook is Jeff is on the front line. I handle the crew. Okay. I manage all that. And then I handle, if we're doing a flip, I handle the realtors and the attorneys involved in that. I handle making sure everything's good with the claimants and the attorneys, okay? Making sure that flow's coming in and the money's going out. I'm managing the money. I mean, that's what I do. Jeff handles the front line. He handles support, and he underwrites all the files. So he's going to have a better idea of who you are, and he's going to be able to help you way better than I do because I'm going to give you the wrong answer on stuff like that. And that's why in this, a couple times, you may have noticed, I've referred to Jeff. I've deferred to Jeff and said, hey, man, I need you to jump in. All right, Jeff just shut down chat, and I only have a couple other questions anyway. So, Charla, I was wondering how much detail state-by-state National Surplus Funds program has. So, Charla, here's the thing. The only way we would need information, first of all, if you go to my YouTube channel, Surplus Funds Riches, all one word, you'll see where I did a 50-state guide. I told you the plus and minuses, all of them, that's in there, okay? We're using it, remember, we're using attorneys, and we're using a structured buyout. We don't fall under the finder laws. We're not regulated by anything. We don't have a finder cap because we're participating in the retrieval. We're giving them 10% of the amount being held by the court upfront or the sheriff or whoever's holding it. Upfront is good faith money. Once we've done some due diligence, it's usually 10 business days. We send them that, and we use attorneys in every instant, and we get it out in the claimant's name. I don't have to fill out a claim form where I'm specifying percentages, because that's specified in my buyout agreement, okay? That's a big deal. So the information you've got some information on the Surplus Funds Riches channel on YouTube, but in reality, you don't need it. The only states we don't work currently are Oregon, Washington State, and Colorado. North Carolina, you can only work with Panning simply because they don't give you any list anyway. And then Florida is a separate program for us because it's so different than any other state. Now, having said that, just so you know, not promising anything, but Jeff and I are talking about possibly opening up Oregon. And Jerry's last one. As a member, I pray that we prosper. I feel we are in a wealth transfer. God bless. I'm going to say that's a good thing to say. And we're at the end of our time. Hey, guys, regardless, of your decision, I really appreciate you coming out. I really think highly of this community, and I appreciate you guys. I hope that everybody has a great night. And again, you got any questions? Go to the website first, surplusfundsriches.net. Click on, there should be a banner at the top, okay? Also, the file download is right here. It has on the products page, which is where that banner at the top will go, where if you click on products, you can enter your information, go to the products page, okay? Even if you're not a member. It'll show you halfway down, there'll be downloads for pricing and for program overviews. Go there, download those, or download it right now. Guys, if you're watching this on YouTube later, you won't be able to do that. But download it right now if you're here on this live webinar with me, or go to that page and download those downloads. Read through those first, then give me a call, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Friday, okay? 704-791-9398. Thanks, guys.